My plan is to hide, to avoid, but if I get busted, if I get captured, I'm not going to do a Rambo, I'm going to do a Gandhi. If I get captured, I'm not going to do a Rambo, I'm going to do a Gandhi. If I get captured, I'm not going to do a Rambo, I'm going to do a Gandhi.
Okay, Stephen Scrocky and Yvonne Lamore want you to believe that is a dangerous killer, a dangerous domestic terrorist. Here we have a address for Schaeffer Cox. I pray you write him a letter in prison. We have Ray Southwell, who has recently put out a in support of Schaeffer Cox number 16. He's written 15 previously to this. We have them all on the Year of Jubilee website. If you go to Year of Jubilee and click on the Francis Schaeffer Cox webpage, you'll get this page here, and then if you scroll down, just keep scrolling, you'll get in support of Schaeffer Cox by Ray Southwell 1 of 2. I can only put 15 on a section. So when he goes over 15, I have to put in support of Schaeffer Cox by Ray Southwell 2 of 2. Number 16 is available if you want to download it and read it yourself. If not, stick around. I'm going to read it to you right now. In support of Schaeffer Cox number 16, July 31st, 2017. Again, I say we must contact our senators and encourage them of the importance in not allowing Stephen E. Scrocky to become a federal judge. My letter to my senator. Senator Lisa Murkowski, 522 Hart Senate Office Building, Washington, D.C. 20510. Dear Senator Murkowski, this letter is in regards to the vacancy of one of the district courts in Alaska. I am requesting you not support Stephen E. Scrocky, one of the 20 applicants who have applied. My name is Ray Southwell. I am a retired registered nurse and have lived in Alaska since 2002. I have studied and fully understand the founders' intent of codifying the Second Amendment. I have been an advocate of establishing constitutional militias throughout the nation, including Michigan and Alaska. My friend Schaeffer Cox was also an advocate of establishing a militia in Alaska called the Peacekeepers Militia, also known as the in Alaska called the Peacemakers Militia, also known as the Peacekeepers Militia, out of Fairbanks, Alaska. Cox, like myself, realized the need for self-defense in the ever-expanding federal government corruption and economic misdirection. He is a superior orator compared to me. His eloquent presentations had many listening to the issues we both fully understand. The FBI and Department of Justice opposed his free speech and militia advocacy. They created a corrupt case against him by withholding exculpatory evidence that would support Cox's innocence of some grand conspiracy which was created by paid FBI informants. As you are aware, the Department of Justice in Anchorage, Alaska has a history of withholding exculpatory evidence. Most notably, what happened to our Senator Ted Stevens back in 2008, along with cases involving state legislators. I am sure you are also aware of the DOJ's attorneys punished in the Stevens case. Most notably was Joseph W. Bottini. Both the independent investigation, Schuelke report, and the DOJ investigation place much of the blame on Bottini. Mr. Bottini has worked in the DOJ Anchorage office since 1985. He has worked alongside Mr. Scrocky since 1991, working side by side in developing cases against the accused. It had appeared that Joseph W. Bottini would have been the lead DOJ prosecutor in my friend's case, filing multiple documents in preparation for Cox's trial. That is until the scathing report, Schuelke report, was publicly presented about Bottini's behavior in the Stevens case. Please consider this, Senator Murkowski. The issue of appointing any DOJ attorney from the Alaska District to any federal district court. We know for a fact that Bottini and Scrocky worked side by side for 2 decades. Bottini was the most punished DOJ attorney for withholding evidence that must be turned over to the defense in the Stevens case. Bottini claims this was his first misdeed in his long history as a federal prosecutor. Hogwash. To withhold exculpatory evidence in the prosecution of a sitting U.S. Senator, one must have vast experience in hiding such information. If it had not been for a whistleblower, The truth surrounding the Stevens case would have never been exposed. By the way, that whistleblower's Chad Joy. It is impossible to work side by side with another professional without knowing how they operate to get a conviction. Scrocky had to know how Bottini operated to accomplish convictions. Even after the expanding exposure of Bottini's behavior in the Stevens case, Scrocky continued to follow Bottini's lead and on occasion whispered direction to Scrocky during the Cox trial. It is documented that DOJ attorney Stephen Scrocky withheld exculpatory evidence in the Cox case. This coming August, an appeal will be heard in the Ninth Circuit. The attorney representing Schaeffer Cox is Michael Filipovic, the same public defender who exposed another case from Alaska's DOJ past of withholding exculpatory evidence. I find little hope in changing anything at the federal level to bring justice for Alaskans. My life lessons learned brings me to full understanding. You gave me hope back in 2007 after I was assaulted by Homeland Security, but you were a novice senator and did not understand how things worked in D.C. You promised follow-up letter after the first, dated August 21st, 2007, was never received. My hope turned to hopelessness back then, as your hope for justice regarding Senator Ted Stevens turned to hopelessness. I recognized only a miracle will free Schaeffer Cox. I still believe in miracles. Just the other day, I saw an interview where you explained you were elected to govern in D.C. There is no elected governing in Washington. Only those who have the power to control our government agencies have the power to govern. You were unable to bring justice to me or Senator Ted Stevens. You, dear Senator, have felt the brunt of the corruption there, as I have, as have I. As I am sure you understand, no politician can change the behavior of Washington, D.C. Last January, Senator Charles Schumer acknowledged the power of U.S. government's agencies have over politicians, even the President of the United States. As Schumer stated on MSNBC's Rachel Maddow show, you, Donald Trump, take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways from Sunday at get in back at you. I know you do not have the power to change Washington or help my friend Schaeffer Cox. My prayer is not to reward federal prosecutors who use their corrupt behavior for their own self-interest. Also consider that what will happen when Joseph W. Bottini brings a case to Stephen E. Scrocky courtroom. Will he rubber stamp any and all information from the DOJ attorneys, or will he be more like Judge Emmett G. Sullivan in the Ted Stevens case, challenging the DOJ behavior all the way to ordering an investigation into the corrupt conviction of Ted Stevens? In conclusion, please do not support Mr. Scrocky's desire to become a federal judge. He is as corrupt as Bottini. It would bring more injustice to the people of Alaska. I know the president is angry with you regarding your recent votes. I am sure he will not take any advice. You may give him. However, you can vote against Anchorage DOJ attorney Stephen E. Scrocky if President Trump nominates him. Bring a little hope in Alaska. Ignore Stephen E. Scrocky's desire to use my friend as a stepping stone for his advancement. Discourage any discussion of Stephen E. Scrocky for a federal judgeship. If nominated by President Trump, vote against the nomination. Honor the memory of Senator Ted Stevens. You cannot bring justice to Senator Ted Stevens, but you can stop rewarding corrupt federal prosecutors in the Department of Justice Anchorage office. Sincerely, Ray Southwell, Nikiski, Alaska, 99635. This is Schaeffer's address. I pray you write him a letter in prison. Thank you for your time.